All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College Application and Website Development, or AWD1100 class, which I always forget the name of, but it is Programming Fundamentals with C#. I've been doing a series of video presentations that are based on the PowerPoint slides for the textbook for the class, and that textbook is, as you can see on your screen right now, all right, Murox C# 7th edition. Now, so far I've done all of Section 1, the first 3 chapters. I've done all of Section 2, which were the next 8 chapters. And in Section 3, I've done Chapters 12. I'm skipping 13 and 15, and I've done 16. I've lectured on Chapter 14, Inheritance, and now we're going to go in and actually add the memory stuff to our calculator. Okay? And then I'll jump into Section 4. Now, before we do, I don't use the memory buttons on a calculator, so I went out and found this from a site called techwalla.com, how to use the memory keys of a basic calculator. And I'm not going to lie to you, much of the work that we'll do to make these work, I just grabbed from the information from the code that I had from Murox itself. So the first thing I want to do is I want to come up to my calculator. I've already got my calculator class, but I'm going to create another class. So I'm going to right mouse click here, choose add, go down to class near the bottom, and I'm going to call this one, it's a memory calculator, so I could just call it memory, but let's call it memory calculator. MEMORYCALCULATOR.CS. And as always, I'm going to start by making this public. All right, now the magic starts right away in that I'm going to say here :calculator. And you'll notice that it sees that in the IntelliSense. So now memory calculator is a derived class from calculator. All right, so let's go in and let's go create, we'll only have one instance variable. Create instance variable. Remember, we still have access to all of the other instance variables in calculator. Not a problem. All right, so we will have private decimal, and that will be our memory value. And we don't have to, but we can just set that equal to 0. And actually, since it's a decimal, it should be 0M. All right. Let's do our constructors. Guess we'll have just one. And we will say public memory calculator. And we're not going to do anything, so we can just put curly brace, curly brace. Okay? And again, we've already initialized this. There's really nothing else to do. And everything else is going to be handled by calculator, so we don't have to do anything here. All right. Now, MS, I believe that the MS one is memory store, but I could be wrong. And MR is memory recall rather. So let's look here. We've got, there's memory. In fact, that looks like it's sunk it in, like you can't even click that. I'll have to look at that. But MC is memory clear. MR is memory recall. MS should be memory store. And M plus is memory add. All right. So if you want more on what those do, again, I'm going to just put here for more info on calculator memory functions, see URL, that one right there. That's the same one I just showed you. Okay? All right. So let's jump in here. And we're going to have first public. And what is the order that we have them in here? I was going to do them in the same order. Whoops. It's for my wife. Let's see. MC for memory clear. So MC, then MR, CRS, and plus. Okay? All right. So the first one will be memory clear. And all we want to do when we are clearing this is to just say memory value equals 0. That's just clearing that value. All right. So this is the MC button. And next was the MR button, which again is memory recall. This one's a little longer. It's 3 or 4 lines. So we're going to come in here and we're going to say this dot display string and I want the little one, I think. May give me an error, but we'll see. Equal memory value dot toString. Might have to make this a capital D. I didn't think I did, but we'll see. All right, we'll look at that in a minute. This dot is new value equal true. This dot has why isn't it figuring out has decimal? Point, and that should be equal to false. So let's see if we can figure out what these problems are with these two lines. It says this is read only. That's why they should be a little deep, but I'm missing something in here and I'll have to figure out what it is, and that's okay. I'm using system in here. We'll want to using, oops, sorry. So using system, using system dot collections dot generic, and using system dot text. Okay. All right. Again, I'm grabbing most of this information that I'm using. I'm grabbing it from the actual code that was given to me by the authors of the book. Okay, so I've got clear. It doesn't like what I'm doing here, so I'm going to have to look at this. Again, it's not understanding this one now either. Inaccessible due to its protection level. I think what I will have to do is to go back to my calculator class, and these variables in here, if you remember all the ones I have that I made private, I may have to change these to protected so that the child can change these. Protected and protected. Now let's see when we jump back into our memory calculator there. Now we have no errors. Okay? All right, so that was the MR button. Next, MS and then M+. So public void MS, which is memory store. and that'll be memory value is going to be equal to this dot display value. And it won't recognize that. Why? You should understand now why that's even the case. And that's because the display value that was in our calculator class, this display value, where are we? There it is. I don't want that to be private anymore. This will now also be protected. And when we jump back here, now we don't have the error there anymore. So this is the MS button. And then finally, we want to do our add. Oops. All right. So this will be public void memory add. And memory value, we want to add to the display value. So plus equals, and that will be the M plus button. Now I do believe we're done. See, it's not a very big class. All right, but we're going to have to come back to here to our calculator. And let's see, I'm looking in here and I'm trying to figure out all these variables. Technically, I'm not changing their value. I'm trying to figure out if I have to make anything else in here protected. All right. I don't think so. How's that? I could be wrong, but I don't think so. If I have to, I'll go back and check on this again later. All right. So let's go back. I'm going to go to my memory calculator here, which works. Okay, and technically, I guess I don't need any of these. Okay, but I'll leave the using system in there. I like that one in there. There's the information on the calculator memory functions. There's our one instance variable, our constructor, our memory clear button, our memory recall button, our memory store button, and our memory add button. So that's everything. You can see how small that is, less than 40 lines. All right. Now I'm going to come back. First, because I've made changes in my calculator.cs, I'm going to save those. And let me go to the design mode. I don't believe this button is supposed to do anything. All right, it kind of looks sunken in, so I'm going to come over here and find the property called enabled, and I'm going to set it to false. Now, what did that do? Well, when I run the program, you'll notice what the button looks like now. Okay, now I'm not done. I still have to put in the code for these four, and then we'll see whether or not it works. All right. So I'm looking here to see. I don't think my multiply, my divide, any of my buttons change at all. I don't think any of those do. So I think I'll just have to add a little bit of code in here for the MC, the MR, the MS, and the M+. So CR, okay, have to add that one, have to add that one, have to add that one, and have to add that one. Okay, so let's start here with this. So this was, there are not very many comments in here. I should have done a better job of commenting, but I guess it's okay. So this is MC calc dot, well, I know what the problem is. Well, at the beginning, I do not want calculator to be a new calculator. I want this to be a new memory calculator. Okay, now when I come down here, I should have access to the new things in here. So for the MC, if I say, in fact, let's call this memcalc. Well, it's already called calc, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So I'm going to say calc dot. Now notice it's got all those memory store, memory clear, etc. I want memory clear. And our label, which I have called LBL answer dot text. I'm not sure exactly what that one is. So I'm not sure if what I'm doing now is right or not. So I'm gonna put it in dot text equals the empty string, but I'm gonna comment that line out. Then in my recall, I'm gonna do a calc dot memory recall. All right, and I want to say my label okay, there's that. Then for my memory store, calc dot memory store, and again this is going to be so they're using something they're calling LBL memory active, okay, which would say I have to add a label in here that was called that. All right. So everything they're doing in here with the memory stuff, this will be LBL memory active. All right, I'm going to go and use that, but I'm going to comment all of those out. This one is correct. This one, I'm going to make that equal to M. And this one, which is our plus, do the same thing here. All right. Now, if I run this, it should run just fine. However, when I come in here and do this, nothing magical is going to happen because that label that's in there, I haven't done anything with it. But I should still be able to come in and do mathematical operations. Okay, so it all still works. I am not well versed enough in using the memory functionality to be able to give a good explanation of what went on in here. However, we did add memory functionality in here. Okay, we added memory functionality. So this looks different from the last one in that everything that you see here, all that highlighted stuff with the little key on it, that was not in the old one. So we added that M button for memory. I guess that's supposed to, I don't know if that's supposed to turn it on. I don't know what that's supposed to do. All right. And in fact, rather than a button, that might be what they're calling, that might be their label that they're putting in there. Okay. What I'm going to do is I've got their answer, and I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. But I'm going to bring it up I did do mine from scratch, just so you know. I could have copied theirs. I did not do that. All right, but in the design mode here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this once it comes up, if it comes up, and I'm going to click on that, and that is LBL memory active. These should all be buttons, and they are. Okay, so I can fix that fairly simplistically, all right, by coming in here and going back to my program. Okay, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to remove it. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to add a label. I'm going to click on here, my toolbox, common controls. Let's go to label and bring that in here. All right, change the auto size property as we typically do. Oops, not there. Doggone it. Okay, I Control Z my way out of that. Yes. All right, so click on there, go to my auto size, make that false. All right, so that will become LBL memory active. All right, as you can see right there. All right, it had that sunken in look, which I know that you can do that with something that's in here. And I'm looking very quickly, or trying to. Made the enabled false. Maybe it was border style. All right, that doesn't look too bad. That's what I should have used up here, to be honest with you. But let's see. I'm going to do one more thing. It's the border style is set to fixed single. I wonder if I set it to 3D, what it looks like. That looks the way it does there. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I want to change the in here, I want the text to be nothing. I want the text align to be middle. And I want to change my font on here also so it looks like the other ones. So we'll make that 18.25. And we will make it bold. Okay? All right. Now, as we take a look in here, and I can go back then to this. Where are we? Now those lines that I put in but commented out, so clear, we'll put nothing in there. That now works. If I click memory store, it'll have an M. If I click memory plus, it will have an M. And for the recall, that is actually going to change what's in my display string. Now, I have no idea if this is going to work or not, but I'm going to try it anyway. So File, Save All, and let's run it. Now, I'm just going to, 56 minus 3, okay? But now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click. And when I click the MC here, all right, that should clear out memory. Nothing magical happened. When I click the MR here, that should copy what's in here, or what's in my display string, and there's nothing in there now. That's why it's copying nothing. MS should change that to an M, and M plus should change that to an M. See, it does, and clear, and that does, and clear. All right, so I'm going to try to do this, 89 divided by 6. There's nothing special about that. Boom. Well, I've got this. All right. I'm going to clear my memory, and I'm going to try to store that into memory. So that should be in there now. Okay. And I'm going to clear, not margin clear or memory clear, but clear. Now I'm going to come in here and say 58 times, but I'm going to try to recall that value. All right, so that did the 58 times the value I had in there. Looks like it worked. If I clear, that changed. So I believe that's everything. So what did I do in here? We'll do that, go over that quickly, and then we'll be finished with this. So I added the work for my 4 different buttons. I had originally had 5 in here, but that's not a button, it's a label, which will have M if you press memory or M plus for the memory add, or if you do the memory store. When you do the memory recall, all right, what it does is it grabs whatever is in memory and basically works with it with your current value. All right, and this is memory clear. That's pretty much it. Maybe that wasn't a stellar explanation, but at least hopefully it helped, and it helped you with your understanding. So I'm going to do a save all. Let's see. That's my Chapter 14 program. I'm going to add that down here. Okay, so that's in there now. So we are now finished with section 3 here. Okay, don't need that anymore. So we are now finished with section 3. So when I come back in a few minutes, we'll start on section 4, which, as you can see, is only 2 chapters long. How to work with file I/O and how to work with link. Link will kind of be a prelude to working with databases for us. Although link technically itself, you can use it with databases, but it's not just a database product. All right. So what we're going to be talking about, where it says they're basic skills for working with data, what we are really going to be talking about more than anything else is persistence of data. So if we want data to persist, we can either save it to a file, or as you'll see when we get to section 5, save it to a database. So I'm going to do here a file, and I'm going to open up. Don't have those yet, so I'm going to open up 17 and 18. And like I said, this is what I'm going to be doing next. So we will talk about link. But before we do that, we will talk about how to work with file I/O. All right. And I will be back. Let's see. Do we have a... Got some more work with our calculations. We did that calculate converter. So we can go back and do that. All right, we'll see what that looks like, okay? And with Chapter 18, with link, there is also at least one program. We may or may not do that. In fact, I have a different program that I did in the past to work with link, and maybe we'll bring that one up. I don't know if I can even find it. All right, so that's it. I will be back with Chapter 17 momentarily.